So hello everybody, welcome to our webinar today. It's all about self-proofing, how to preview your print without printing. Self-proofing with Spyder4. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Oliver Muse. I'm the responsible person for the customer service of Data Color worldwide. Um, just let me mention that I'm a photographer, so I do glamour photography and fashion photography, stuff like that. Then on my side is Luke. Just introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Luke McCormack from KL Australia. Yeah, I'm the technical support, printer specialist, and also a photographer.
So let's look into our webinar today. It is, and that is what we already mentioned, or I already mentioned, is all about soft proofing. So soft proofing means that we can simulate a printout of a printer. And for that, we need to control color. We need to control color everywhere in our workflow, of course, in our printer. So that means if you are printing your own images with your own printer, then please profile that printer. Tools are Spyder4, for example. Or canned profiles could be also a tool to profile your printer. Canned profile means a, a profile that is made for the average of your printer. So that is not an individual created profile, it's just out of the box. So Spyder Print will control your colors. That means you can, with Spyder Print, you can print out your own color references on your paper with your ink set and your own printer, of course. And that will, the software that comes with the Spyder Print, that will compare the printed colors in the end with your references. And yeah, like this, the color output of the printer is under control in the end. Just let me check something. Here is something struggling on my machine. I'm not sure if you can you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Correct.
then it's perfect. So it's a bit
hmm
flickering here. So
hmm
sorry for that. Then the every printer is different. So that means if you have two printers of the same manufacturer, same type, everything is the same, they will be unique. They won't be the same. So therefore, an individual printer profiling is the best that you can do for your printer, of course. And then paper and inks have a big influence into color tonality and color ranges, of course. So if you're printing on matte paper, black won't be as deep as black on a glossy paper, or even um, what is the name of these papers that are not
Mono.
really not really white, so a bit yellowish. Natural
So.
papers. So sorry,
hmm
look for the word. Sorry for that. Uh, um, these yeah, color of the paper and so on. This is character a word of a paper is all, also influencing the colors.
hmm
And printing heads, they change during their usage. That means as older the printing head is, then the nozzles, they will be widen and the dots are a bit bigger, and that also changes the colors a bit. And that's a reason why printers also need to be recalibrated every 3, 4, 5 months. It's depending on how much you print with your printer.
hmm
Then printing services. So that means even if you don't print with your own printing machine, and please allow me to ask a question here because of I'm curious, of course. Here is, which printer do you use? Are you printing with your own printer or with a printing service, or both? That's quite interesting to know. So please just click it. If you are on a on a mobile device like an iPad, then you can't do that. You can't see the questions. Sorry for that. So, okay, so around 70% of all attendees clicked the answer button. A bit more, please. Thank you. Okay, so around 55, a bit less, is my own printer. 22% printing services, and 20, barely 25% I'm using both. So thank you for that. Printing services, please ask them because of they. Oops, sorry. The wrong button. They profile their printer by their own, of course. They do a color correction as well, and the profiles they create for their printers, these are normally offered on their web pages. So look on the website where you can download these ICC profiles. If you don't find them, contact them. Ask them to send the ICC profile. It's not a big deal. It's less than a megabyte, so that fits with an email. And then save it in the appropriate folder where all your ICC profiles are located. And then you can use them to simulate the colors of these printouts, even if the printer is not yours. Then we talked about simulating these printer colors. Why are these colors different compared to, for example, your monitor output? That is quite easy to explain. It's because of different gamuts. Gamuts is the color space, how large is a color space of a device. And we, with our cameras, we have sRGB or Adobe RGB 9098. So that depends on the setting of your camera, or even better, of course, the setting of your raw converter. So that big horseshoe here, that is CIE norm color space. That is all the visible colors by human eye. And then the big triangle is Photo RGB, just to mention that. Then we have sRGB, that is the smaller triangle here, right in the middle, the red one. So that could be the setting of your camera. That's normally the default setting. Then we have, if you're printing your images, then please use Adobe RGB 9098. It's that here, the bigger yellowish one. Why that and not sRGB? sRGB is perfect for web purposes, yes, but Adobe RGB covers stronger saturated colors. That means, look here, that is a printer, an inkjet printer, a quite old one, I know. So on matte paper, that means that green here is covered by Adobe RGB, but it's not covered by sRGB. Can you see that? And there would be a lot of colors that are not covered by your workflow or by your color working space that you use in your images. So that is the reason why you should go with Adobe RGB 1998 or even a bigger one. So printer is a bit better. That means the color space is a bit larger here in yellow and mostly here in cyan as well. Not that printer, but a normal printer now, a standard printer, a current one is a bit better here in cyan as well. So it's just overlapping a bit. Then there's another reason why we need to simulate that, because of your monitor, your workflow, the color space that you work with is completely different compared to the color model or color system, that is the right word, of your printer. Your monitor is working with RGB colors. RGB means red, green, blue, and all of these colors on one point, and it's white. No color at all is black. Your printer is exactly the opposite. No color at all is the paper white. And CMY on one dot is black. So look at the overlaps here. RGB, red, green, blue. Look here, it's CMY. So did you see that the green here in CMY is not as strong saturated as that green here on your monitor? Yep, and that's a physical limit. It's impossible to print such a green with CMY. So if you see a print, maybe a poster of an advertisement, something like that, then sometimes you see colors that are so punchy. These are printed with Luke. What is the right word? It's a special color. It's not CMY, so there was an additional color in the printing machine to print that.
Spot color.
Spot color. Thank you. That was the English word for that. Sonderfarbe is the German word if you're interested in German. So then, okay. So
Yeah.
um, then the color range here is of course with RGB more or less bigger, especially except the yellow and the cyan one. So I mentioned that already. Um, Another thing is the contrast range of prints is much smaller than the contrast of displays. So look at your monitor now, and maybe you have a magazine or a picture on the wall or whatever beside your monitor. Compare the white here on the monitor with the white of such a printout. And I would bet that the printer white here is much brighter than the white on your printout or your magazine or whatever you have and you use at the moment. So that here is a light source and you are looking directly into that. While black here is not illuminated, that means it's a very deep black. While your printed black has a rest reflection, that is normal. And that rest reflection is a bit, let's call it brighter. I don't like the word for that, but it's a bit brighter than the black of your monitor. And that is the reason why printouts are not as contrasty as the image on the monitor. And therefore, we included in Spyder4 Pro or Spyder4 Elite a function that we call the ambient light compensation. That means your more contrasty display will be measured. That is called not brightness, the right word is luminance. So the luminance will be measured of your monitor and of your ambient light. And then it sees, a printout would have round about that white point. And then your monitor will be calibrated to an ambient light fitting level. That means the contrast range is much closer than ever before. And therefore, I could bet that if you print your own images or with a printing service, that you experience that you printed images, but the brightness of the images of the printouts was much lower than compared to your monitor view. And therefore, you need to calibrate your monitor to a lower level, to an ambient light fitting level, to see that your image is that um, contrasty and to set the brightness in a correct way. So that is included in Spyder4 Pro and in Spyder4 Elite. You can see that here, Spyder4 Pro and Elite is there on the back. There is the ambient light sensor, or you can see it here as well. And the Spyder4 Express hasn't any ambient light sensors, so that Spyder4 Express is made for users that are just working for web purposes, for example. So they never print out their images. So if you print your images, then go with the Spyder4 Pro. I think Luke, you have a special deal here in that case, right?
Yes, we're doing it through one of our retail partners, DCW in Australia, and then Photo Warehouse in New Zealand. So after the webinar will finish tonight, we'll actually send out a link. It's a hidden page on um, DCW's website, but it's only for the people attending this webinar today.
Okay, so thank you. Um, then we talked about these yeah, adapted or these calibrated luminance of the monitor. That means the brightness of the light source behind the pixels. We need to calibrate to some other things more, like the gamma and the white point. So if your workflow is sRGB or Adobe RGB 1998, then please calibrate to gamma 2.2 and to 6500 Kelvin white point. And just to tell you the full truth, sRGB, standard RGB, has a defined gamma value of 2.2, but the white point isn't defined. But of course, we recommend 6500 Kelvin, and that is normally done by all the users worldwide. 6500 Kelvin is white point at noon on a cloudy day. So that means you should calibrate to that as well in sRGB. And here, just to mention that there are a few more, like ECI RGB that has 1.8 gamma and 5000 Kelvin. You can do that with the Spyder4 Pro as well. And here is another very special that is ECI RGB V2. That hasn't any gamma, that is a non-gamma curve. It's a L-star curve, that is linear curve. And white point of 5000 Kelvin. This can be calibrated, this L star can be calibrated with the Spyder4 Elite, not with the Pro. So now allow me to ask an additional question. I would like to know which color working space you use. So here is the question. Are you working with Adobe RGB 1998 or is it sRGB or another? Or you don't have any clue what it is? Then of course let me know. So around 70%, a bit more please. Thank you, thank you. Okay, now, round about a bit more than 70% is working with Adobe RGB 1998. A bit less than 20% is sRGB. 5% another color working space. And 4%, believe it or not, they don't know which color working space they are using. So please take care of that. That is really important. If you are shooting in RAW, then you can, in the raw converter, you can um, choose the color working space that you want to work with. Let me ask that. Are you shooting in raw? Or is JPEG enough for you? Or do you know what raw, you don't know what raw is? So then let me know. Okay, this is what I expected. Yeah. Around 96% is that is quite precise. Is yes, I shoot in RAW. Um, a bit more than 1% is no, JPEG is enough for me. I have my doubts, but look in other webinars from us, so we will talk about that. And around 2%, they don't know what RAW is. So RAW is a format that saves or stores all the information in that file, which comes with your camera. That means you can choose everything in after the photo shoot, the white point, or there is something that is called, I think, aperture correction. Luke, is that the word in English? I'm not sure. Not
Exposure correction?
sorry, aperture exposure correction. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can choose that in the end. So just to give you a rough idea what it is. So thank you for answering these questions. Um, so now let me okay go back to my presentation here. Please take care of your workflow. That is so important, really important. And again, because of around 95% of you guys have Adobe RGB 9098 or sRGB, Gamma 2.2 6500 Kelvin would be your target. Then, even if you print your pictures by yourself, please be sure that your monitor is calibrated correctly. Your monitor is the only window to your file. That is the truth. Your monitor is the only window to your file. And just take care of or be aware of that the color that is in your file, that is the real color of your image. And your monitor mustn't be a liar, of course. Do you allow me to ask an additional question because of I'm interested in? Are you calibrating your monitor already, or yes, no, or just once and then okay, that is quite good to see. Oh no. Okay, so around 88% yes, 3% more or less say no, I don't calibrate it at the moment at all, and a bit less than 10% is yep, but just once. You you know that your monitor has the aging process and it will change drift with the colors. So you really need to recalibrate your monitor every 2 weeks. Just to mention that again. So, okay, thank you. Then back to the next point here is please download the print profiles from your printing service from your provider. Save them in the appropriate folder that is in the Mac OS. It's Color Sync and then Profiles, and on Windows machines is C Windows System 32 spool drivers colors. I'm sure that you know where it is. So a bit more hidden on a Windows machine, a bit easier to find on a Mac, but save that profile into that folder. Luke, yes?
There is one thing that Windows does have over the Mac. The Windows users can actually right click on their profiles and go install profile, and it'll actually put it directly into the spot that they need to. They don't need to actually go and find
Yeah,
the spool
that's
folder. Hmm.
absolutely true. So then do a soft proof in Photoshop with your printer profile. And now that is the step of how to simulate the printer colors on your machine. So what I did is I opened my Photoshop. I opened one of my images here that I captured for a data color for the spider checker. So that is just to show you a few more strong saturated colors. Then I want to simulate how that looks when I print a brochure for data color. So that means brochures are printed with an offset printing machine, and here we have a Folka 27, for example. That is a European standard. I'm not sure if this is a standard in Australia as well, but don't care. You can simulate any printer with that feature. So in Photoshop, just click here, the view, which is here on top. Can you see my mouse, my cursor? I hope. So click on view and then click on the very first entry that is proof setup. And then again, the very first entry that is custom. And if you click on that, you will get that box. Here, device to simulate. And there is what I selected, coated Foca 27. So here I also could select my own printer, an Epson or a Canon or HP or whatever one, or any other. If you installed the ICC profile of your printing service, then choose it here, device to simulate. Then here is simulated or simulate paper color. Please highlight it. Then I just switch on the preview and now look at the colors and the contrast of that image here. Oh, that's it. And if you toggle between them, you can see the limits of that printing machine. You can see that there is a limit in contrast, and you can see that the saturation of the colors is lower in the end. So that is the simulated printout. Now, when I click on OK, I have the option to switch between the original colors and the simulated printing colors with Command and Y on a Mac, or if you're sitting on a Windows machine, then it's Control and Y. And then you can just toggle between your original colors and the soft proof. You can see that here on top of that list here. Then it's RGB 8-bit color depths and then coated Folka 27 in my example here. Otherwise, it's RGB 8-bit color depths and nothing behind that. So no simulated color gamut of a printing machine. Please always darken your room and use indirect lighting. That is so important. Just let me explain it that way. Um, if we are sitting in front of your computer and the room is really dark, not completely dark, but almost, and then open Photoshop and create an image that fits the whole screen. Now use the little tool in Photoshop. I don't know the English name for that. That fills that fills a surface or a mask with a color, and put in black, absolute black. RGB levels 000. So now let's put a very dark gray X on that background. And that X should have the color RGB levels 04, 04, 04. This is just 1.0 delta E difference compared to the background, to the full black. 1.0 delta E, what the hell is that? That is that is a color deviation or difference that is barely visible by experienced you and my you, I, my eye, or Luke's eye, barely visible by experienced eye. So my mom, she's a hairdresser, she wouldn't see that, and we need to ask her twice to see that. Look
Yep.
a bit more detailed, and then
Mm.
she sees okay, well, you are looking for that? Yes, of course we do. We take care of bendings and so on. So we are sensitive enough to see that. So now take that screen with that barely visible X and go outside into direct sunlight. Can you see that X? It's gone. You can't see it anymore. Why? What happened? Is the monitor changed now? No, it's not. The only thing that is changed now is your eye. The help me, what is the word? The pupil or the iris in your eye
Iris?
is
Correct?
is closed like the aperture of your camera now in sunlight. Use your camera with aperture 16 or 22, whatever, late at night and try to capture images outside. That's quite difficult. You know what I mean? So that is why your monitor is showing you information, but you don't see it. So that is the reason why you should darken your room. Darken your room means to a quite low level. If you are able to read a short article in a newspaper without switching on the lights, it's fine. If you would be able to read the whole page of the newspaper, then it's too bright. Okay, so then use stabilized ambient light. That is very important. So what I do is I use a D65 lamp in a do-it-yourself store. It's just a few dollars more than a normal lamp, and I use it in front of a white wall, but with a shield in front of that. So you know what I mean. I'm just using the reflective light of that. And I shut the blinds when I'm working with my images. That means there is no daylight at all. And that is the best you could do. Then please work with a warmed up monitor. Warmed up means 30 minutes or even longer. Better would be an hour. Because of the monitor, when it's warmed up, then it stabilizes the colors. Otherwise, the colors are a bit drifting. That also means please don't use the hibernate mode of your video card, of your monitor, the setting in your operating system, you know what I mean? Where the monitor, where you really hear the click and the monitor is off. Switch that off. I'm not talking about the screensaver, that is fine because of the monitor is still running, but the hibernate mode is not good for you because of you are just on phone for 20 minutes and then you came back, your monitor was switched off after 15 minutes, for example, then you need to re-warm up your monitor until the color is stable. Recalibrate your monitor every 2 weeks. 4 weeks would be also okay, but 2 weeks, then you're on the safe side. And avoid colorful walls and surfaces around your monitor. Please don't do that. If your desktop is colored, try to make it neutral. Black, gray, white, that would be best. Wearing a red t-shirt when you're setting up your colors of your images wouldn't be a good idea. So please don't do that. Um, I'm aware of that color management is a quite complex thing, but if you want, I wrote a book together with Christoph Künne. He's a quite famous editor of a magazine that is our, let's call it a Photoshop Bible in Germany for a German-speaking market, and we put all the color management things in 6 chapters. First is color management in general, so color spaces and stuff like that. Then um, camera calibration, then monitor calibration. Then monitor calibration a bit more detailed means studio calibration, matching different screens and so on. Then viewing, printing, and here soft proofing and different media types and so on. So this is not a book for the next 2 weeks holiday at the beach. That is more or less a book for a rainy Sunday afternoon. So all the explanations are yeah, in a style like a photographer explains you color management and not a technician that doesn't has any clue about photography. You know what I mean? So here's the link. Just do a screenshot of that if you're interested in download that book. It's free of charge. And yeah, so then we are online everywhere almost. So Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest, YouTube channel, of course, and LinkedIn, RSS feeds. You can order them on our website as well. So you will find us there. If you have to say something, you share your images with us or something like that, then of course contact us on the Facebook side or in Pinterest or wherever you want. If you have questions, and now you have the option to ask us questions, let me enable that feature for you now. It takes a bit. Wait. I need to. It doesn't work at all at the moment. Did I mention that Macs haven't any errors? No, it's not true. Believe me. Okay, so now it's working again. Okay, so now the option to ask a question is activated on your computer now, and you can send us your questions and we will answer them. We will read your question so everybody can hear the question without your name. So it's anonymously, and believe us, there is no stupid question. Ask your questions, we will read them and answer them so everybody can hear the question and the answer. But for later, if you have question about your workflow or about the Spyder, if something is unclear, we have a free of charge ticket support. It's a 24/7 free ticket support. Just contact us at support.datacolor.com and yeah, of course, ask a question. We can send you links to PDFs or to videos or rewrite you everything down, all what you need to know. Then we offer further webinars that is available on our website. It's spider.datacolor.com/webinars. Just note that there are different time zones. So we do some of the webinars for the US market, some of for the European market. So maybe that fits no with your time zone. Not, I think that is a bit too late.
Hmm.
And for the Australian market as well. Um, these webinars are about all our products for the whole workflow. Today we talked about the monitor calibration, that is Spyder4 Express Pro and Elite. We have the Spyder Print that profiles your printer. Spyder Studio, by the way, is a combination of Spyder4 Elite and Spyder Print. And the Spyder Cube, that is a tool to balance the contrast of your camera. So we do also webinars for that. And Spyder Checker, that balances the color output of your camera. Spyder Checker Pro is a combination of these both products. And we have Spyder Lens Call, that is a tool to calibrate the autofocus of your camera. That is the only tool that we offer which has nothing to do with contrast or colors or something like that. So that is sharpness calibration. Now, this was a quick overview, and now let us mention again that special deal here.
Hmm. So again, for for DCW, for the Australian customers, again, we'll be sending out a link after this webinar for everyone, where again, it's a hidden page on DCW's website, and the same for Photo Warehouse. But then the users will be able to purchase the Spyder Pro directly from DCW.
Okay, thank you. So let's start with the questions. Here is the first one is, how do you deal with an image that is out of gamut? So there's no image that is completely out of gamut, but if there is a color that is out of gamut, then if you print your images, you are using that is called a rendering intent. Of course, we will speak about that topic in a webinar that is about printer profiling. So then we can go a bit deeper in these details. Um, the rendering intent is the, let's call it, the kind or the type of translation from one color space into another. If you have images with out of gamut colors and you are using the rendering intent perceptual, then you will reduce. Do you remember that triangle of Adobe RGB 9098? So you will shrink that triangle until it fits in the color space of your printer. And then you won't have any clippings. Luke, some
Yep.
additional information about that, or?
Yeah. No, that's yeah, you're pretty much correct. Going from somewhere like relative to perceptual, perceptual will add more warmth to the image. Basically, it will make everything fit. Yes. Um, I'm just trying to think of another way of explaining it. Does it make sense to you, Oliver?
Absolutely.
Yep. Cool.
So next question is, I have a Spyder 3. How much advantage to purchase or to buy a Spyder 4 Pro? That is or that wasn't the topic in that webinar, but of course we love to answer that question. Here is that Spyder 4 is in average 26% more accurate than your Spyder 3. It has double shielded or coated filters. The sensors are newer, are more accurate, are more stable. And behind Spyder 4, there is a and because of its different firmware, there is a big database. So please allow Spyder 4 to communicate with the data color database. So there is all the information about the different monitor physics. So there are monitors with white LED backlight and RGB LED backlight and CCFL and in this database, your Spyder software will ask, look, my operating system here, or this computer has a ISO 123 monitor. What is it? And our database will answer with, it has white LEDs, it has normal gamut, and the reddest red is that, the greenest green is that, the bluest blue is that. So that will be all the physics about your monitor will be shared on that database, and the software learns from that. So that is also new with Spyder4. I hope that was a quite good explanation
Hmm.
of about these. So it is only talking is going on as I can't see. Who? What?
It looks like maybe his go-to-meeting may have only just been
Oh, that
audio.
he has, yeah, that he had trouble with the video.
Mhm.
So I hope
Yeah.
you was able to see everything. And sorry for that. Then they are, hmm,
We are recording it, I believe,
yeah,
and we can post it up. Yep.
right, right.
So
So yeah, right. So you can see the video in the end. Then
mhm,
can you repost address for free ebook? Yes, of course I can. So
second.
give me a
I-
second. I need to go back in my presentation, but that is not a big deal.
I've also just posted it on the Data Color Australia Facebook page as well, the link to the ebook
Okay, that
for
is good.
other people that didn't get it.
Yeah. So I think you can see it now, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Brilliant. Then please expand on printer calibration. Yes, but we will do that in another webinar because of it would take too long to do it now. Printer profiling, there are a few things that are very, very important to keep in mind, like printing references without any color management in the printer driver and where you have deal with the colors. So how to set Photoshop in the correct way and how to set the printer driver then in the correct way. There are automatisms. Is that an English word? I'm not sure. That try to
Mhm.
optimize the colors of your images as well, and they need to be deactivated if you want to really profile your own printer. And because of
Mhm.
that is a more complex topic, we don't have it more detailed today. Sorry for that. I hope that is okay for you, but then please look at our ongoing or our current webinars because of we will do that as well. Can you provide more details about the type of light you use? 6500 light, is there a brand name? Um, when I work here in my studio with my images, I don't have a 60, no, of course, it's not a 6500 Kelvin light source, but it's a D65 that is just a bit different, but almost the same. And that is not a stabilized light or not an, what is the right word? An, a normed light source. That is just a normal D65 lamp, so a cheap one. That is
Mhm.
enough to work on your computer, on your monitor. When I start to prove my images, that means I have my calibrated monitor and on the side, there is a norm light box. That is the word of that. And mine is a GTI. So that is
Mhm.
just mine here. It's a GTI box, and that has a stabilized and normed light source that is 6500 Kelvin. And that norm light box, sorry, that is a norm light box with 5500 Kelvin. Sorry for
Mhm.
that. And that norm light box is, because of its unnormed light, that is quite expensive. So the size is around A3 that
Mhm.
I can put into that, and it costs around a bit less than 1,000 euro. So I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know the price in euro currency. So sorry for that, but that is quite expensive.
um,
Um,
yeah, about a bit more than that. Probably about 1800
okay.
for a GTI booth here.
Yeah, yeah. So why I'm using such a light source? So just to give you a rough idea, is um, there is a thing that is called metamerism. That means that you can't see a special color under a certain light source. For example, you are wearing a jacket and you are looking for a tie fitting to that jacket. So you go into the store, look at all the ties, and you find one, put it on around your neck, and you see it looks like the same brand, the same manufacturer. Brilliant. So buy that, and then go outside and on the parking lot in daylight, you see, huh, what is wrong here? My blue jacket, and now I have a more or less pinkish tie around my neck. What happened? So there is a red in the tie that wasn't included in the light source in the neon tubes in the store. So you wasn't able to see that. That is the reason why the girls are going in to the window or to the exit to compare colors there. So that is the reason. So in such a norm light box, this is the full spectrum of color. And that is quite important if you really want to professionally proof images or proof printouts. Okay, so I use Lightroom instead of Photoshop. Does soft proofing work in that program? Yep, it's depending on the version of Lightroom, but with Lightroom 4, it's also possible to soft proof your images. Yes,
And Lightroom 5.
and Lightroom 5, of course, as well.
Yep. Mhm.
It is best to calibrate via external monitor or a laptop screen. Oops. If you need to work with a laptop, then of course, please calibrate it and go with it. But if you have the choice to work with an external monitor, yes, please do that. Why? Because of the gamut is bigger. That means the external monitor normally can show you more punchy colors um, compared to a laptop. The It's called uniformity is better on external monitors normally compared to laptop monitors. Uniformity in brightness or in luminance, for example. That means that a normal monitor has a kind of, let's call it vignetting. So the edges, the corners are a bit lower in brightness compared to the middle. And laptops are normally really, really bad in that. So a laptop monitor has another purpose. So that is thin. It is not heavy. It is not power consuming. Yeah. There's another purpose for these. So I hope that describes a bit. Will we be able to go to a website and replay this webinar? Yep, afterwards. So we will share the link with you. I think that we will share the link on our Facebook site as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for the great webinar. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. Please allow me to ask another question because of that is really, really, really important for me to know. Um, Here is the question. How was the webinar? Was it too technical or could it a bit more technical? Or was it fine? Then please yes. Or not at all? Then please no. Okay. That is something that I didn't expect. I will share the result later with you, so please click it. That is very important for me. You help me with that to improve webinars, of course. 71% click the answer button. Please do a bit more. Thank you. Okay, so now around 60% yes, a bit more than 5%, not completely. It was too technical. Oh, a bit more than 6%. Then around 30% says no, it could be a bit more technical, and a bit less than 4%. I didn't like it. Okay, thank you for that. But what about the length of the webinar? The duration is the right word. And so, by the way, sorry for my poor English. My German is much better, believe me. Okay, so was it too long, too short, or just right? Okay, 60%. A bit more, please. Thank you very much. So around 50%, 15 or no, now 16%, too short. Around 7%, it was too long for me. And a bit more than 75, 77 at the moment is just right. Okay, thank you for that. So back to your questions. Um, what adjustments can you make to match the image on the monitor to the printer? What adjustment can you make to match the image on? If you calibrated your monitor, then you see on your monitor the colors that are really in your file. And if you profiled your printer and you simulated the printer color with that soft proof function, then they are matched. The only problem you could have is if you, and let me, please allow me to use an example that is way off. If your monitor is calibrated and you look at your printout and the printout is illuminated just by a candle, for example, of course your printout will be much darker and much more yellowish because of the light source that you are using to illuminate your printout. So you know what happened? So that is the reason why I have that norm light box. Your monitor should be calibrated to 6500 Kelvin white point. Then please illuminate your printout when you want to match it with your monitor with daylight at noon, cloudy day. So 6500 Kelvin. And then it matches. Hi, Oliver. This is Rockstar from Manila. We met in Shanghai last year. I used the Spyder4 lead to measure the ambient light in my work area. To measure the ambient light in my work area. Yeah, it tells me that I should use a white point of 5800 Kelvin. Is this okay, even if you recommended a while ago that I should use 6500 Kelvin instead? Um, uh, Hi. Okay, so yeah, the software recommends 5800 Kelvin because of our human color perception. Let me explain that a bit deeper. The lower a light source is, the more bluish is your color perception. And that's true. Look, we both are sitting in a cinema and we are looking at crime, whatever. So there is a guy and another guy will shoot him or whatever. So it's late at night, absolutely, or quite dark. We can barely see two houses, one on the left, one on the right, and in the middle there's a small space between the houses, and there are the two guys. What is the color you can see? It's black, and the rest is quite bluish. And that is our human color perception. Now, since your monitor is calibrated to, I guess, 120 candela per square meter, then the Spider software asks you to calibrate to 5800 Kelvin instead of 6500. Yep, because of our eye, because of the reduced luminance of your monitor, your eye would see a bit more bluish white point because of the reduced brightness. And therefore, the Spider asks you to calibrate to a bit warmer color temperature, 5800, to compensate that human color perception. I hope that explained it. I'm not sure if this was really clear or not.
Hmm.
Hi there, hi there. If I am processing in Adobe RGB and using a print service that prints in sRGB, this would mean that my images will end up looking duller than on screen. Is that correct? Yep, is correct. Because of printers, they have a much lower limit compared to your monitor or to your printout. But did you remember this, or do you remember this big triangle of Adobe RGB, and then the little color space that was in the middle of that printer that has another shape? Um, Yellow and cyan is even better than Adobe RGB 1998. So my recommendation is, yeah, go with Adobe RGB. And if the printing service offers you sRGB and nothing more, then yeah, go with it, and that's fine then. So there is no other choice in that case. Um, Can you recommend any particular online printing services who are accurate with colors? A lot in Germany or in Switzerland. By the way, I'm located here in Switzerland. So good morning, by the way. Yeah, Switzerland, by the way, is between Germany and Italy. So, but can you recommend some? I'm not sure.
Yes, I can. I'm gonna have to be very diplomatic in my answering. If you're in Melbourne, because I don't want to offend anyone, if I do forget anyone of these pro labs, I do apologise now. In Sydney, I'll start off with Sydney. In Sydney, you have Pixel Perfect, which is a Zuka book. Also Vision Lab over there. Also, you have got Profamer on the northern beaches of Sydney. In Melbourne, you've got companies like New Lab. Uh, I might actually try and post some up on our Facebook page. That might make it a bit easier. So, Creative for Life on the Central Coast, which was Ken Duncan's old lab, and RGB Digital and Photo Frenzy up in Queensland. Sorry if I've left the other states off, but I'll try and post some more a bit later on.
Ah, okay.
If that's. Did you get the little message I just sent you from another user? A question that they had.
Here is one that is: how does calibration for both monitors and
Hmm.
printer impact black and white images?
Hmm.
Do you want to answer that or should I? Not sure.
Oh, yeah, I'll let
Do
you
it.
answer that one. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Or do you want
then.
me to do it? No, no. Do you want me to do it?
Depends on you.
Um,
Up
Oh,
to
look,
you.
I'm happy to. That you threw a curveball at me. So, um, I'd be saying that basically the mono calibration will make sure that your image becomes very linear on screen. So when you do start to soft proof your uh, printer profile, whether it's from a lab or on your own inkjet printer at home, that you can then start to see if we get what we call color twisting. So if the image happens to become a bit more cyan, or if it has a magenta cast to it, which then allows you to be able to correct for it. So hopefully that's answered the question. Yes.
Okay. So next
Yeah.
is, I have the Spyder 3. Can I get a printer calibration to work with this? Yes, of course. Spyder Print will work with that as well. We calibrate your devices to an industrial and global wide standard. So that means, of course, you can go with the Spyder 3 as well. I printed the color chart so I could profile my printer and paper using my Spyder 4 Elite paper calibrator, but when I used the profile, there were odd highlights and oh, I don't know that word, fringing
Fringing. Fringing. Yep.
in the prints. Any tips, Luke?
Okay. I'd be interested to see what they meant by fringing.
hmm
As in,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
you
That is
might.
the reason why I ask you to answer that question.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
No, no, that's fine. I guess if they mean fringing, whether it might be posterization, as in stepping from say 50% gray to
Ah.
60, maybe. If that's the case, it could have been uh, reading one of the patches incorrectly, which you can then obviously go back and take a read of that one in particular patch that would show up in the software as being uh, what's the word now, where it's had an incorrect read. The other thing is reading at a consistent speed using the Spider print. And the other one, Oliver, I don't know if you use it over there, is when I tend to use the Spider print, I stack it on a couple of sheets of paper so it doesn't pick up the table underneath that I'm reading on.
Now I'm realizing something. He's
Mm-hmm.
writing. It's a he.
Oh,
Paper using
sure.
my I could profile my printer and paper using my Spyder4 Elite paper calibrator. So I think it's not the Spyder4 Elite, it's the the Spyder Print, or the previous version was Spyder4 Print SR, Spyder3 Print SR.
Mhm.
So if you are talking about that now, then I've got your question. Sorry for that. Maybe you didn't calibrate the sensor in a correct way. There is the little white tile that you need to measure first before you're starting measuring your patches. If you have trouble with that, please contact our support. Of course, we will help you. That is not a big deal. That's why we offer support. So cheers, yeah, cheers from my side as well. I have recently got the Spyder 4 and after calibration. I have recently got the Spyder 4 and after calibration. Screen colors and brightness seems very wrong. Worst that before when I used to use Spyder Pro 2. Why could that be? Please also contact our support. I'm absolutely sure that you are working with a Windows machine, and on some Windows machines, you installed the video card driver, of course. And with a video card driver, there come additional softwares that try to adjust or optimize colors as well, and we need to deactivate these tools because of they are overwriting a place on the video card where is a bit more than the half of the spider correction. So then you have a white point correction that is still working, but the correction curves that are stored on the lookup table of your video card, they are overwritten, and therefore the whole calibration doesn't work. And it's not a big deal to switch that off. Please just contact our support, support.datacolor.com.
I have a question here, if you don't mind me asking or
Yeah,
taking
of
this one,
course.
Oliver.
Of course.
Uh, there's a question. Do we have any recommendations for someone using ProPhoto RGB, and what rendering intent should we use when soft proofing?
The rendering intent depends on the rendering intent that you want to use to print out your images. Rendering intent is the type of translation between two color spaces. That means, and I really try to explain it roughly because of its a bit more complex thematic.
Mhm.
ProPhoto RGB is a very, very large color working space, much bigger than Adobe RGB 1998. So that big triangle need to be translated into that non triangle of your printer. So that means perceptual is like putting out the air of your big, big color working space until that triangle fits in the little color space of your printer and then stop. So, if that triangle fits completely into the color space of your printer, then the sides won't be used. You know what I mean? Because of the triangle doesn't cover the full printer gamut. So, if you are doing that, you will keep the color balance, the color characteristics of your images. If your colors of your images are not very strong saturated, then you should go with the rendering intent relative colorimetric. That is, you are shrinking the Pro Photo RGB, but you make how to say that is the border of a color space, is that a word? I'm not sure. You make
Yep.
it smooth and you put it around your printer monitor. That keeps the colors as strong as possible, but you will lose a bit the color balance. That means in a stronger saturated sky, for example, this can be a bit pinkish in the end. So give that a try and toggle between the relative colorimetric thing and the perceptual. So I hope that explained it a bit. Um, I'm running a 64-bit operating system and my Spyder 3 doesn't seem to like it. So I'm currently using an old Spyder 2. Does the no? Your Spyder 3 definitely will work with the 64-bit system. So just go to our website in the support system as well, support.datacolor.com. There is a download zone, and just download the latest installer for your Spider, the appropriate version, of course, Spider 3, Express Pro, or Elite. I was just wondering, often after calibration my monitor, white appears pinkish. Do you know what might be causing this? Could be calibrate my monitor, white appears pinkish. Could be the same reason that I explained a bit earlier, that you are working with Windows and we need to deactivate these additional tools of the video card. So please contact us as well. Thank you for that, by the way. Is it worth paying for customized CC profiles for your particular paper, or are the ones provided by the manufacturer good enough? Luke, I think that's your
Do,
question.
do this the my realm? I guess it is. Um, this is actually part of my job at KL is to make printer profiles. So I want to keep myself employed. Um, no, a customized CC profile for a printer, whether it's done by someone like myself or you've bought a Spyder print, it is actually basically fingerprinting your particular printer. Have we got time to do a quick chat on how manufacturers do printer profiles?
Mhm.
Oliver, yep. So how one particular manufacturer might make a printer profile is they'll line up 10 of that one particular model of printer and print out these charts, read them in, and then do an average. So that means that if your printer happens to be on the left-hand side of the 10, like as in printer number one, your printer might be slightly a bit more producing a bit more yellow than what uh, the averaging that it's done. So having a custom profile will actually reflect what colors your particular printer can do. And this goes the same with if you happen to be using a paper manufacturer's profile from whether it's Canson, Hahnemühle, or Ilford, is that having a custom profile for your particular printer um, will allow a better result for you to accurately soft proof on screen what your model of printer is doing. Was that okay, Oliver?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm.
What are some of the monitors used in Germany for color accurate work? In Australia, it's mainly ISO followed by NEC. Yep, I agree with that. The ISO Color Edge, the CG series, is really good. I have a Quattro that is a very small German manufacturer, so forget that. But the quality is the same as the ISO CG Color Edge monitor. So that is a round about €2,500 monitor, so
Mhm.
quite expensive,
About the
but
same price here.
yeah, but very good in uniformity. That means there is no vignetting, there's no color shifting at all, and so on. So that is the big benefit of those monitors, and that's the reason why there are monitors available for $350, and others are cost 2,500 or three, even if the resolution and the size is the same, but not the quality. There's a big difference in quality. Okay, so my camera has only a RGB profile, not Adobe RGB 9098. Is that a problem? Ooh, I have my doubts because of RGB is not a profile. RGB is a color system. So RGB or CMYK. So that is like sorry for that very bad example, but just RGB is like it's a plant or it's an animal, but I don't tell you which animal. It's a cat or a dog. So you know what I mean? So just RGB is okay. I know it's an additive color, but just RGB is not a color space. So look into the manual of your software. I'm sure that you have color spaces like sRGB, Adobe RGB 9098. So these are the standards. Really, I'm sure that they are in. Um, My sorry, if you have raw, then do it with raw, and then choose the color working space that you want to use in your raw converter. For example, Lightroom or Aperture or Photoshop or whatever. My Spyder Pro doesn't call up existing monitor calibration settings when I open the software to recalibrate. How do I locate the previous calibration data so I don't start from scratch? I wouldn't do that. Just start from scratch. That is okay. I'm quite sure that. Oh, or are you using different user accounts? That could be one of the reason.
Hmm.
So make sure that you are logged in with administrator rights. And then create a new target, gamma 2.2, 6500 Kelvin. And for sure, the Spyder, when you recalibrate your monitor, it will remember the settings and go with these settings. Then you can also save these settings under a certain file name if you want. We are a photographer. What have light meters? Please give us a maximum and minimum ambient light levels as shutter speed, aperture, and ISO or lux or EV. Can you read? And article is a bit rough when we have the tools. Um, that would be a quite big a topic for now. So we have a big list of further questions here. So I think we should create a webinar with these topics.
Hmm.
So I hope that
Definitely.
is okay for you. So that is really too much for just talking about that. So we need a slideshow for that as well, a presentation. I found that that many print providers, commercial, don't provide ICC profile and refer to a generic profile included with Adobe software for examples. Are you aware of a collection of ICC profiles or major commercial presets along with different paper stock due to the many paper stock various? Okay, so if such a provider is just asking you, hey, use sRGB, that is our color working space, then I know it's hard, but let me say that, and I don't recommend that as a data color employee. I recommend that as a photographer, deep from my heart. Look for another provider. Um,
Um, I was. Do you, can I have a little bit of a shot at this as well,
yeah, of
Oliver?
course. Yeah, of
Yeah, yeah.
course.
Um, that if he's talking about a CMYK, by the way I've read the question, I think he's talking about an offset press person, not so much a generic or a pro
Hmm.
photo lab. Um, they might be referring to him as being the FOGRA standard, which is obviously, that it's a worldwide standard that they follow for the lighting condition, the printing condition, and the paper condition. Um, that's why they might be just referring him back to FOGRA, uncoded, coded, or
Ah,
an
okay,
ISO
okay.
spec. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that was the question then.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, Let me. What is the difference in rendering intent under customized proofing? I think we mentioned that already. So,
Mhm.
right. So that is the type of translating a color from one color space into another. Then, oops. By the way, the little chat box here is quite small, so I have to scroll a lot, and that is the reason why I can't read it so fluently. My Spider 3 can be upgraded to a Spider 4 with several improvements. What about the Spider Print? Has that colorimeter been upgraded, or is it going to be? No, there is just a new software, and the Spider Print is or all the Spider print sensors from Printfix Pro up to the new Spider Print is compatible with the software. And the Spider 3 can't be upgraded to a Spider 4. So that is not just a software. Also, the sensor um, is different. My current ambient light level is very low or moderately low on my 27-inch iMac screen. Do I need to do anything to my monitor? No. Then just calibrate it to the appropriate um, white luminance, and this is normally then 120 candela per square meter. That can be measured with a spider, of course, and on the iMac 27-inch, if this is the previous model, I assume, then it's more or less the middle of the setting. So I had the 27-inch here in my studio as well. So that is. Should I use black point compensation? It depends on your images. If your images are very dark in the shadows, then yep, use it. So you would open a bit the shadows. If you don't have so much and deep shadows, then don't use it. So that is a kind of let's call it in not increase, yeah, maybe increase a bit the shadow details to ensure a texture in the blacks. So that is depending on your images. Do you have additional information on that, or is that okay?
I'd actually say leave black point compensation on all the time. My understanding is that it will always make your blackest black of the file to your, if we're talking printing on our own inkjet printers, that for instance, that say a matte paper that can't achieve a deeper density black as maybe a luster paper could,
Yeah.
or a fine art paper could, that it will actually move your black point or your black reference up to the um, minimum black of that paper stock. So I always leave it on, and I always use black point compensation regardless, so I know that I'm achieving the maximum black for that paper and that paper profile.
Okay, so difference between Pro
Yeah,
and Elite.
yeah, yeah.
Difference between Pro and Elite is the Spider Pro calibrates to gamma 2.2, gamma 2.0, gamma 1.8, and to 5000 Kelvin, 5800, and 6500 Kelvin white point, and the native white point. The Spyder4 Elite calibrates to each white point, to each gamma value, even to L star, that is the special one you remember maybe. Then the Spyder4 Elite has an iterative gray balance that is, let's call it an increasing of the color measurement points around the gray axis. So, and it can calibrate from projectors as well. Um, if you have the Spyder4 Pro, you can purchase an upgrade to Spyder4 Elite because of the sensor is the same, just the software is the difference here in that case. I have bought Spyder4 Elite. Can I use this to calibrate my printer? Nope. This is just a device to measure additive light or emission is the right word. That means monitor or from projector calibration only. Do you need to use Spyder on the self-calibration ISO screens? If your ISO has a self-calibration, uh, you could use it, yes, but the ISO can do that by himself. So
Mhm. You could actually use it in what they call the collaborative mode. I've used the wrong terminology. You can actually use both sensors. So what if
yeah,
you want to check that your ASO sensor is performing correctly, you can actually use the spider to check that the ASO is referencing the colors correctly as basically a second opinion.
yeah.
Hmm.
Does discount relate to Elite? Oops, I don't know, Luke.
Um, Good question. I shall get back to you on that one.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. I think I believe it's only been set up for the Pro, but I'll see what we can do about for that particular user. I've got his email address.
yeah, we have it here. So
Hmm.
um, what's the best way to compensate for color contrast loss seen in softproof? If you push color curves adjustments too far, will the image red out? Should I process in 16-bit? Yep, that would be best. Of course, work with 16-bit. That is what I do as well. And if you want to push that a bit, then do it. Switch on or activate the soft proof view, and then please be very, very careful. And always just do that with an is a setting layer a word? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
okay. Then use a setting layer and don't touch your original images if you're doing those things. And then switch or toggle between original colors and a soft proof view. And again, please be very careful with that. But yes, you can push it then. Being able to read the newspaper is a bit wishy-washy. Yeah, you're right. When we have to the tools to measure light levels accurately. Yes, of course. So that was just a description from my side. Just use the Spyder4 Elite or the Spyder4 Pro to measure the ambient light, and your software will give you absolute is concrete a word recommendation if that ambient light level is good or not,
Hmm.
and that is a precise recommendation then.
Yep.
Should your camera, monitor, and printer all have same colors? So what? I can't read that.
Settings. Same color settings
Mhm.
or
SOACE. I don't know that word. Sorry for that.
space.
A
Space.
space. Oh,
Yep.
sorry.
Yep.
Should your camera, monitor, and printer all have the same color space? No, your printer always has a different color space compared to your camera. Because of that is CMYK, your camera is RGB. But your camera and your monitor, yep, that should be calibrated to the same. And your printer then need to be adapted. That is normal.
Hmm.
A lot of clients now evaluate on Apple iMacs with highly reflective screens. I Is a hood enough to help offset the extra reflectivity? Reflectivity, yeah, that is the right word.
Hmm.
Um, it increases that, yes. Personally, I don't like these high glossy screens, and because of they are also increasing the contrast of a monitor output. But do we need that contrast? Mm-mm. I already mentioned that we need to decrease the contrast of our monitors with the calibration to get closer to printouts. So that is a bit, let's call it consumer style. So if you are playing or whatever you do with the monitor, then it looks a bit more attractive. But but yes, you're right. With such a hood, you increase it a bit. Where do you place the sensor when you are measuring the ambient light? I always keep the spider on in the middle of my monitor. So, but you can keep it on the on its desktop cradle. The important thing is that the ambient light sensor that is on the round back of the sensor that must look into your direction, so into the room, not to the monitor. Can I get a good print if I have calibrated my desktop with my Spyder4 Elite but have no calibration tool for my Epson 3000 printer?
Hmm.
Can't profiles, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely can profiles and profiles for the particular papers that they'll be printing through their R3000 printer.
Warm up times for LCD monitors 30 minutes. Yep. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, very good. And thank you for I have a Spider 3 and a Dell 2711 monitor. The calibrated color seems to look green yellow. However, sometimes print seems magenta pink despite printer and calibrated data. Okay, so again, that is too complex for that chat here. Please contact us in support because of it can be additional tools on your video card, and it can be a setting of your Photoshop. It can be the way you prove colors. together with your printouts. We need to clarify that. Then, if you plan to mainly print on your own printer and are upgrading for Spider 3, would it be more economic to purchase Spider Studio? Yep, definitely. Definitely, yes. That would be great. I don't know to
I'll do the
which
same.
it
Thank you.
refers. Yeah. Any major differences in calibrating between Photoshop and Lightroom 4? No, no difference at all. I've had frequent problems with GoToMeeting. Seems to zoom in and was only showing a small refresh area when Oliver was moving his mouse around the
Mm.
CIE diagram. Sorry for that. So that is GoToMeeting. It's not Data Color. It's a Citrix tool. Normally working quite good, but yeah, thank you for letting us know that there was a problem. So we report that to Citrix then, of course, as well. So please look into our video that we will offer later. Would the Spyder4 be a benefit for calibrating my iMac? I have been told iMacs are not easy to calibrate. No, that is absolutely not true. I had an iMac here as well, the 24/7 inch. I calibrated that and it was a huge improvement. Believe me, a huge. So just give that a try. The calibration, by the way, is the monitor calibration, by the way, is not just a white point correction. It's also a correction, or it's called the linearization of the color primaries. All your color channels, RGB, these are like a stair. So it begins with black and then it ends up with the brightest red, the greenest green, and the bluest blue. So these stairs, they need to be absolute equal, and that is absolutely not fact when your monitor is uncalibrated. After the calibration, it's linearized. So go with that. Also, is there a ebook for other guide for calibrating an Epson R300 printer? On our website, datacolor.com or support, no, sorry, again, please. Sorry for that. Spider.datacolor.com without www. Spider.datacolor.com. Then you're directly on our Spider page. Then click on support, and there you will find a Wissensdatenbank, that is a kind of, let's call it, knowledge area. And there is a menu that is called descriptions or manuals, and there you will find PDFs in English as well. And the good news here is it wasn't me that translated everything into English. That will describe how to deal with an Epson printer on Photoshop or Lightroom or something like that. So I'm sure that you will find further information there. How do you define which monitors are capable of accurate calibration? Each monitor can be calibrated. Each monitor can be calibrated, but a calibration corrects the colors and optimizes the colors. But no calibration in the world is able to improve the quality of your monitor. You know what I mean? So that means, of course, calibrate your monitor, but don't expect too much. If your monitor has a vignetting that is incredible strong, that wouldn't be removed afterwards because of this can't be what is the right word, archived by a monitor calibration. When Spyder4 is checking ambient light, does it matter if I am sitting in front of the monitor, sort of blocking the light directly behind me from being checked? So create that situation that you work in the end with your images. That would be best. Then, does the Spider have issues with glossy screens? Absolutely not. The very old Spider 2, we developed that 10 years ago. Yes. Spider 3 is fine with that. Spider 4, of course, as well. Spider ebook download link doesn't find book. give it. Please retry, and if this is still true, then please let me know. I will. Oh no, no, no. My apologies. Color, not color. Oh yeah, you spelled it in the wrong way. Sorry for that. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Considering more printing is for trade shows, indoor display, etc. Should we be setting our viewing light sources to match the final environment? Huh? Considering more printing is for trade
So what they're saying is to match the lighting conditions of the trade show.
should we be setting our viewing light source to match the environment? Um, I'm not sure if I understood this question, and sorry for that. Um,
Hmm.
what we do is we calibrate our monitor to the standard that comes with the color space that we use. So that is 6500 Kelvin in that case here. If you are self-proofing your images, then you simulate the paper color. And if you want to match the colors of your printout together with your monitor, of course, then you need to use a light source to emulate your images, to simulate the color of your images of the monitor, and not simulate, to adapt, I think is the right word here in that case. So can I use Aperture 3 to self-proof? Oops, I'm not sure. I
Yes.
don't. Yes, it works with
Yep.
Aperture 3.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I
So for
wasn't sure.
hmm
Thank you and viele Grüße aus Newcastle, Australia. Very helpful. Yeah, viele Grüße means yeah, a lot of greetings or many greetings. Thank you. Dankeschön dafür. Und es freut mich, dass jemand zugehört hat, der Deutsch spricht. Okay, back to English. Is Data Color going to develop a profiler for iPads? A lot if my clients are doing culling on iPads using Capture One. Please
hmm
go to our website or go into the Apple Store and type in Spider Gallery. Spider Gallery is already a
free.
tool that is available in the App Store, and that is free of charge, by the way. So just download it and calibrate your iPad or iPhone. Yes, it's already available. Will the next one be more user friendly on an iPad? More user friendly on an iPad? Please give us your feedback. So we are interested in that. More time for question, please. We are still answering the questions, so I hope that is okay for you. Is LED TV can be a substitute for an external monitor? Yeah. Yes. No. Yes. No. So something in between. A TV doesn't have this very stable uniformity. You know what I mean? So that is okay as a kind of, let's call it, control monitor, hmm, but not real for post production. Not really for post production. So there's a reason why those ISO monitors are much more expensive than such a TV. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
yes, you can use it, but with calibration, you will correct the color, no doubt, but you can't improve the quality. Are there current fluorescent bulbs to use in our lighting around your work area? Yep. Go into a do-it-yourself store, you will find them there. This is what I did as well. I only caught the last 15 minutes. Is there a link to the recorded webinar? Yep, we will send the link in the end of the webinar. I said no in the question. Did this seminar satisfy me? I read it incorrectly. I definitely meant yes, and thank you. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. That is quite good to know. Who and that made my day. Thank you for that. So you remember there were, I think it was 4% or something like that. They said no. Hi, thank you for the webinar. It's very informative. Wattage? What does it mean? I don't know that word.
Voltage.
Wattage.
What
Oh,
voltage?
the brightness of that. D65 light bulb should we use? Ooh, That is a good question. I
Uh,
think
uh,
I think I think mine is a 60 um 60W
60 watt.
watt lamp. But I can't check it because of the room is 3.5 meters and it's right under the ceiling, so that is a bit too high for now. I'm currently seeing a survey in German. You are? So I stopped
Yeah.
that. You
Hmm.
are you as well?
Yeah, I'm seeing it as well. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the webinar was, and I can't. I'm not going to attempt to
Okay,
read it.
so here now now you see
Better.
my spider book, right? Okay, that is good.
Yep.
Better. Yeah. Sorry for that. Um, I also I only had audio. Okay, that is a shame. Sorry for that. Just check out the video in the end. Thank you very much for the concise
Concise.
concise
No,
answers. Sorry.
yep.
Yeah.
Straight to the point. Hmm.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Great webinar. Got to go. Until next time. Yeah, would love to see you again. So, why do some printers ask for CMYK files?
Mm.
These printers are they are called what is the English word for that?
Pre-press
Um,
or
no, it's called. Ah, sorry.
describe.
Yeah, there's a big hole in my hair at the moment. So sorry for that. A postscript printer, that is the right
Yep.
word. So sorry for that.
Hmm.
Okay, so these printers are not RGB printers. And now let me explain the difference between an RGB printer and a CMYK printer. All of the printers are printing with CMYK colors in general. Of course, there are the photo printers, they have more colors, but the color system is CMYK always. And these are the basic colors of all of the printers. RGB printers are these printers that can deal with RGB color photo printers, for example, like the Canon 9900, like an Epson 2880, something like these. So you know all these printers. I don't need to mention them. So then there are printers like laser printers, for example, the bigger ones. They they really expect CMY colors, CMYK colors. You can't send RGB colors to them. These are um, what did I say?
Postscript. I
Postscript
think.
printers.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Um,
fine.
and these postscript printers, they can't deal with RGB colors. They are not able to translate RGB color into their CMYK color systems.
It's
So,
probably the I was
yeah,
going to say it's
sorry.
probably the rip that they're running can't do a good
Hmm.
translation.
Hmm.
Um, with the it can't translate properly, so it's easier that they keep the file CMYK.
Yeah. So, do you need a PostScript pointer? Do you need a RIP? No, you don't need it as long as you want to print out your images as best as possible with your printer and do fine art prints. If you need to match a color, if you need to print an absolute color, I give you an idea. You have a printing company, and in your little hall or factory, I don't know the right word for that, sorry, in your in that house, you have a very big offset printing machine. Now I'm your client and I'm asking for, look, can you print me that brochure but 200,000 times? And before you are doing that, I want an example with all the colors. Now you need to print a proof for me, and I really will expect these colors. So what you could do, you could stop your very big printing machine to print such an example for me. That would be much too expensive for you because of you can't stop it. That need to print all the way for your clients. Hmm? So what you can do now is you use your inkjet printer and print with that inkjet paper a printout that looks like the colors of your big printing machine. So that is proofing. And then you need to simulate or you need to reduce the color space of your inkjet printer to the color space, the smaller color space of your offset printer. And that is where you really definitely needs a rip and a postscript printer. You can't do that with an RGB printer. Just an example. Taken that they use their software color profiles. Okay, so that was to that question here. If I'm making prints for clients to display in their environment, how should I be incorporating their light characteristics? Um, hmm, I think you don't have a chance to do that. I don't know how. Do you have an idea?
Uh, Not very.
If
They'd
it,
have to basically get a spectrophotometer and
mhm,
a special piece of editing software,
yeah,
take a light measurement, put it into the profile. It can be done, but it's not an easy process.
mhm, right.
If they would like to know more, then if they would like to contact me, I can explain more in depth.
Okay. So sorry, in response to your reply on my first question, so would that mean that I might be best for me to processing in sRGB instead? I'm not sure what was your first question. I think that was that with RGB, right? I would recommend Adobe RGB because of it covers more of the colors of your printer.
Well, the person's question was that they were using a printing service that only prints in sRGB, and he works in Adobe, or he or she,
Oh,
sorry,
now I got it.
works in Adobe. So I think what he's saying that, or he or she again, sorry, may are they better off working in sRGB considering their lab that does their printing works in sRGB?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, I would still go with Adobe RGB. The reason is if you someday you want to print out your images on another paper that has a larger color space,
Mm-hmm.
if you already limited these color space to sRGB because of that is your original color working space, then you are lost. There is no stronger saturated color than in your images. But if you're using Adobe RGB, there is room for improvement. So I would
Mm-hmm.
go with Adobe RGB definitely. I'm running a 60-bit operating system, and my Spyder 3 doesn't seem to like it. So I'm
Yes.
currently that is the same than before. Contact our support if you still have um, trouble with that. The latest software works. I'm absolutely sure. Should I be using different room lighting when processing for the web as proposed for print? No, no, no. Go with the room or ambient light that we described earlier in that webinar here. So shadow or darken your room, but of course not completely. So that was my description. Like reading an article in a newspaper is fine. Reading the whole page, then it's yeah. So fringing is chromatic aberration. Okay, so that was the answer because of I wasn't aware of what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for that. If I was to only print on one print stock, does it make sense to edit in Photoshop soft proof? If I was, I think we answered that question already. Yes, you can. You can use the soft proof to edit your images, but please be so careful with that and toggle between your original colors and the soft proof view. And don't do that with your original file. Always do that with just a layer setting. A setting layer? What is the right setting layer or layer setting? Hmm? I think setting layer.
Mm-hmm.
My Spider Print works with my 64-bit system really well. Thanks. Yeah. That is what I mentioned. Thank you. Using Spyder 3 on 64-bit is not a problem. Thank you for the great webinar. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, a lot of thank yous. I think there is no further question now. Here is one. If areas of your image soft-proof with a gamut warning, what is the best way to adjust those areas so that they are corrected for the print? Use the perceptual rendering intent, and they shouldn't be any gamut warning anymore. So because of it will be reduced to a fitting size of your printer gamut.
Mhm.
How do I set up my Kelvin levels on an iMac? You can't. This will be done by the Spyder, by the profile, of course, not by the Spyder. Um, how do we take advantage of the discount at DCW? Do we need to quote the seminar number?
No, there will be a link sent out after the webinar to all the people that attended with a direct link to DCW's website.
Any issues with OS X Mountain Lion? No, no issues as well. And of course, then we will adapt everything for Maverick as well. So just be patient then for a week or maybe a couple of weeks, and we go with that. So they're normally, and that's my experience. It will directly work with a new operating system as well. I upgraded Spyder 4. What can I do with the old Spyder 3? Recycle somehow?
Give it to a friend.
Yeah, right. Give it to a friend. That could be the entry for him, the entry into color management.
Mhm.
How much on an effect does the video card have on monitor calibration and color displayed? Um, mm, all the new video cards they have, or more or less all of the new video cards, they have a digital color output. So not really. Just go with it. So there is no problematic one. The only thing that you need to keep in mind, if you are working with more than one monitor on your computer on under Windows, then you need to ensure that your video card has two lookup tables. Lookup table is a small memory chip on the video card that stores the correction curves. So that is quite important then. Hi, I thought this webinar started at 8. Is there any way I can watch it? Yes, we will offer that as a video, and we started at 8. Or, Luke, we started at 8,
Uh,
right?
oh, we
No?
started at 7.
7. No, it was
Mhm.
11 a.m. my time, so sorry for that. Okay, so there are, yeah, that is always the issue with the different time zones, but we offer that as a video. Um, why Spider Gallery only sees the first 25 images in Facebook albums? I use it in an Android tablet. Uh, I don't know. It normally it works. So please download the latest software version. If you still have the issue, then please contact us. We need to look into that then and to solve the issue. On my little, I'm a Mac user. Sorry for that, but I have an Android tablet. Of course, to test everything, and I have in that folder, I think 70, 80 images. So close to 100, and I can see them all. So there shouldn't be any problem. But if there is one, then maybe we need to work together. Is it okay if I store the spider in front of my computer? So should I put it inside of my dry box when I'm not using it? It depends. If you're using the spider to continuously check the ambient light level, then store it there in the desktop cradle, and that's it. If you don't need it for the next 4 weeks, then it's okay if you put it back in the box or do whatever you want. So that is okay. So there's no issue with that. Excellent session. Good work with the questions. Thanks. Thank you for listening. Sorry, couldn't manage to log in earlier. We will offer a video. That is the question here. Um, then my printers were purchased at a large stationery shop called office works. One is an HP photo printer and another is a Canon Pixma, both around 300 each. Would I be using a better quality printer or upgrade the inks? If you go with the original inks, and to be honest, more or less, if if you want to save money and you purchase a cheap ink set, then the colors are duller in the end, and they are not as double as the original inks. Always, I didn't see a cheap ink that is good.
Hmm.
I saw is alternative inks. So third party inks, maybe that is the better word. I saw
Yep.
third party inks like the what was the cave paint is an. Do you know the brand?
I,
Doesn't matter.
uh,
So cave paint is just Google it. There is an ink that is quite good. I like it. But it's more or less the same price than the normal OEM ink. So there is no price advantage then if the ink is
mm,
good. Can I look off now? Yes, of course you can. Please send the discount code again. Okay, yeah. Let me go to. We have that little here again. So just to mention that, in the end of the webinar, we will send you a link where you can order with this 20% discount. So if we missed your question, then please don't be don't be angry with us. Maybe we stepped over that here in our little box. I think more or less we clarified everything. Um, so that is the last step. And let me say again, thank you for listening. I hope to see you soon in another webinar. And the last word goes to Luke. So
mhm.
take care and good night.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. The last question was for me.
Yep.
Oh,
I,
well.
I
Oh,
thought that you want to say goodbye to
oh,
all the guys.
sorry. Oh, yes. Goodbye. Thank you, guys. Sorry, I was reading a question. So yes, thank you,
Okay,
Oliver.
okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.